الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلوات الله وسلامه على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد المصطفى وعلى آله ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وما بعد. The last time I promised you that today we will discuss Suratul-Fatiha, in specific the meaning of Suratul-Fatiha. And I give a challenge to the young boys to memorize it. But I don't see them here. But before we talk about the meaning of Suratul-Fatiha, I want to give you a bird's eye view of important concepts about Suratul-Fatiha to understand it. Suratul-Fatiha, for the sister who just accepted Islam, is the first chapter of the Quran. Surah, we use it to mean a chapter, and Al-Fatiha is the name or one of the names of this chapter. Al-Fatiha means the opening, so it's the opening chapter, the first chapter of the Quran, and it's very important that we learn the surah, we learn to read it properly, we memorize it, and we understand it. We're able to derive the lessons from it and hopefully live according to these lessons. So I'll mention a few things without going into any details in any of these categories, and then we'll discuss the meaning and we'll come back to some of these. So Suratul-Fatiha has many names. Suratul-Fatiha has many names. We won't discuss them now, but maybe some other time in the future. Suratul-Fatiha has a very high, elevated esteem in Islamic teachings. Some of what we call Fadailu Suratul-Fatiha, and I wouldn't discuss any of that right now. Also, the verdicts about Suratul-Fatiha in specific, that it must be read in Salah, in each rak'ah of each Salah, and there are details in that, but I wouldn't discuss that now. And also the lessons that we can extract, or I should say some of the lessons that we can derive from Suratul-Fatiha, and hopefully how to implement them in our lives, but I wouldn't discuss that either today. Or at least I wouldn't start with any of these. So we'll start with the meaning of Suratul-Fatiha in English. And if we have more time, we'll move on to something else, inshallah. Because there's so much to discuss in Suratul-Fatiha. Now I have a tendency when I discuss the meaning of Quran to get extremely technical, but I'll try not to do that with you. I'll make it very simple, inshallah. So let's start off by saying Bismillah-Rahman-Raheem. Also there's the concept of Bismillah-Rahman-Raheem, whether it's an ayah of Suratul-Fatiha or not. But I won't discuss the details of that today. Maybe some other time we'll talk about that. Suffice to say, we will treat it as if it's an ayah for now, inshallah. And one of the opinions is that it is. So, Bismillah-Rahman-Raheem as being the first ayah of Suratul-Fatiha. The ba here, before I translate, I want to alert you to a fact in Arabic grammar. The ba, B, is a preposition, and it has, in Arabic language, it has about 14 possible meanings. Ba, harf al-jar, ba, has about 14 meanings in Arabic language. And in the translation of Bismillah-Rahman-Raheem, I will utilize a few of them to show you the possibilities. So what is very popular, if you were to read the translation, the English translations of Quran, and there are many out there, they would say, in the name of Allah. At least that part, everybody say, in the name of Allah. And then they differ concerning the translation of Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, but essentially they're the same. They're just utilizing different vocabulary that have approximately the same connotations. For example, the merciful or the beneficent, the merciful. I normally translate it as Ar-Rahman, the one who's merciful to his entire creation, and Ar-Rahim, the one who's especially merciful to the believers. So the way I translate Bismillah ar-Rahman-ir-Rahim is in the name of Allah, the merciful, Ar-Rahman, the merciful to the entire creation, Ar-Rahim, the especially merciful to the believers. And there's a reason why I do that. And then also, instead of saying in the name of Allah, you say because of the name of Allah, or with the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. All those are possible interpretations. So, I guess let's just do the translation, we'll do interpretation later. So you can translate Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim as in the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman, and use whatever you want to translate Ar-Rahman. But the essential meaning is that it's a name of Allah that signifies His Rahmah, His mercy, His compassion to the entire creation, whether they believe in Him or not. Whether they are animate or inanimate, or what we consider inanimate. So Allah has the Rahmah on the entire creation. Even the disbelievers, He's merciful to them. For instance, to simplify, this part of the mercy of Allah is that He created us and He cared for us. And this is the same for the believers as it is for the non-believers. So that name Ar-Rahman captures that meaning, that Allah is merciful to the entire creation. But Allah has a special mercy that He has reserved for the believers. The name that He gave Himself for that special mercy is Ar-Rahim. And that's the essential difference between the two. Other scholars have proposed other differences. Like we said, we wouldn't get too technical here. So in the name of Allah, or with the name of Allah, or because of the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. You all understand that? Should we discuss that more or move on? Move on? Okay, there's a lot to discuss here. But we'll come back after we go through the meaning of the whole surah. Alhamdu lillahi Rabbil aalameen. Who will translate this verse? Who knows the meaning of this verse? Go ahead.
Alhamdulillah, it's thanks for Allah.
What?
Thanks for Alhamdulillah Rabbil aalameen. Is that
What's the
this
word
Olam is a world, right? This whole world.
Just say in English what Alhamdulillah Rabbil aalameen.
That's a lot of meaning there.
Just make one of them.
Larry, son help me. Larry, son help me.
Okay.
Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds.
Praise be
Yes.
to Allah, Lord of the worlds. In fact, you need to be a little more precise than that. Like I said, I'm not going to get too technical, but I'll make it clear. The word Alhamdu, the Alif and Lam, it actually means all. So in the Arabic language, sometimes we use the word Alif, the Alif and Lam, what we call the definite article, to mean all. And this is abundant in Quran and in the Arabic language. So here, Alhamdu means all praises. Lillaahi, belong to Allah, or are for Allah. Rabbil aalameen, Rabb, Lord, alaihim, the worlds. Now there's details in the interpretation, but like I said, let's just get the basic meaning, and then we'll come back and discuss more the interpretation. Excuse me. Alhamdulillah Rabbil aalameen, all praises are for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Ar-Rahmaanir-Raheem, just like we said before, the beneficent, the merciful, or the merciful to the entire creation, the especially merciful to the believers. Maaliki Yawmid-Deen. Who know the meaning of? Let's go word by word. Malik. What does Malik mean? in Arabic language?
Angel.
No.
Master.
Malak. Malak is
Malak.
angel.
Angel, yeah.
Ruler.
Repeat.
Ruler.
You can say ruler, Malik, but Malik linguistically means the owner. For example, if I was to say to you, Ana Malik who has al-Hatif, it means I own this phone. This phone is mine. Yeah. This iPhone is my phone. So Malik means owner. But there's two ways to read this ayah, and I'm telling you that because we want to go into more meanings, is Malik and Malik. Malik is used in the Arabic language, in everyday Arabic language, to mean what? Who knows?
Ruler. Ruler.
More than that.
He's a king.
Talk about ruler with more.
No, he's a king.
King. King. So a person with absolute power, well, he claims it. So Allah is both Malik and Malik of the Day of Judgment. Yawmid-Deen, the day of judgment. Ad-Deen here means judgment. Deen is used in the Quran for four meanings. And like we say, we're going to keep it simple, so I'm only going to give you one. Here it means al-Hisab, judgment. Yawmid-Deen, Yawm al-Qiyamah, is the day we will be judged. Who owns that day? Allah. But not only does He own it, but He is in absolute control. So He is Malik and Malik. So He's the owner and master, controller, if you wish, of the Day of Judgment. What's the difference between the two? Malik, you can own something but have no control over it. For example, a dog, right? You have a bulldog. Very likely you have a bulldog, you can own it. You have control of it, it makes you think that.
Maybe they're gonna bite
But
some.
bulldogs, no sorry, Bob. You don't have any control over it. These animals have raw animal instinct within them. You can own a tiger, you can probably walk around with it on a leash, but one is going to eat you.
It's animal.
Yeah. You have no control of it. But Allah owns the Day of Judgment, and He's also in control of it. And like I said, I don't want to interpret too much. So we're going to move on. Maaliki Yawmid-Deen. So these three verses, by the way, are all one sentence. One sentence in the Arabic language. So the sentence is, all praises are for Allah. That's the end of the sentence. So what about the rest of the stuff? We take the word Allah, and every one of those phrases are what we call a badal. They're a substitute. So, all praises are for Allah. Who's Allah? Lord of the worlds. Who's Allah? Ar-Rahman. Who's Allah? Ar-Raheem. Who's Allah? Maaliki Yawmid-Deen. Because of these four attributes, these four characteristics and qualities, He deserves to be praised. So as if someone says, all praises belong to Allah, and someone asks, why? Because He's Rabbil aalameen. What else? Because He's Ar-Rahman. Come again? Because He's Ar-Raheem. Give me more? Because He's master and owner of the Day of Judgment. He deserves to be, come on, praised. All praises belong to Him, and He deserves to be praised. And there's an implication, do not praise except Him. But we're going into interpretation. We just want the basic meaning for now. The next verse, Iyyaaka na'budu. What does Iyyaaka mean? Who knows?
Only to you would worship.
No, Iyyaaka, what does it mean? No. What does Iyyaaka mean?
Only to you.
No, there's no only. What does Iyyaaka mean?
Is that if you said, let's say, if you said
Alone
Iyyaaka,
will worship.
it's gonna be sun, you know? Iyyaaka, we need a more said Iyyaaka. We're not worshipping for the sun, you know?
What does it mean?
Allah, let me.
Chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah,
No!
marshmallow.
What? What does it mean? Iyyaaka, let me make it simple for you. It means you. 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 Na'budu means what?
Worship.
We worship. Na'budu means we worship. So that you can understand na'budu. How many of you here know Arabic?
How many what?
Who knows Arabic? Raise his hand. You know Arabic? Arabic? من أين أنت شيخ؟
Arabs know.
من أين؟
Arabic.
لا لا من أين أنت؟
Please.
من أين أنت؟
من أين أنا؟
أيوه.
أنا من الأردن.
ما شاء الله من الأردن وأنت؟
مصر.
من مصر ما شاء الله مصر. الحمد لله. طيب نعبد means we worship. How do we say I worship?
I worship.
أعبد. You worship. تعبد.
Ta'budu.
Yeah. She worship. تعبد. He worships. يعبد. See that? So in Arabic language, you change the first letter of the present tense verb from Hamza is I, A, Noon, we, Ta, you, and she. You, singular masculine, second person, and what else did we mention? And he is Ya'budu. And there's more forms of the verb anyway. The present tense verb, we have 12 forms of it. But I just give you 4 of them there. Anyway, na'budu mean we worship. So, Iyyaaka na'budu mean you we worship. By the way, that has a special meaning in Arabic language. It's kind of technical. I'm not going to say, I don't want to get too technical, but I'll just say it quickly to benefit you all. I'm not ready. What's your name again, Chair? Hashim, وأنت؟ خالد وهاشم. خالد وهاشم. الأصل في اللغة العربية أن تقول نعبدك. لكن المعنى لا يستقيم. إذا قلنا نعبدك فهذا لا يفيد المراد أن نخص الله سبحانه وتعالى بالعبادة فقدمنا المفعول به على الفعل والفاعل ليفيد حصر فعل الفاعل على المفعول به. معنى ذلك لا نعبد إلا الله. فلذلك قدم المفعول به على الفعل والفاعل. I just said something in Arabic, I'll translate it in English. In the Arabic language, the original form of the verbal sentence is to say, we worship you. Actually, no, let me correct that. Worship, we, you. You put the verb, the noun, and then the object. But then the object was taken from the ending of the sentence and placed at the starting of the sentence to connote or to carry the meaning of exclusivity. Exclusivity of what? That we worship only Allah. That's why we put the you in front. I say we put, Allah put it. Always say Allah, this is Kalam Allah. So anyway, this means you we worship, not other than you. See that? If we had said we worship you, then it would mean we worship you not other than us, which would be kind of arrogant. We don't want to say to Allah, we worship you. Don't forget who worship you. Be nice to us because we're the ones that worship you. It's kind of arrogant, yeah. We wouldn't say that to Allah. We want to say to Allah, you we worship. And the same for the next part of the ayah. وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. What does wa mean?
And.
Iyyaaka. What does Iyyaaka mean?
You?
Simple.
Iyyaaka?
Yes.
Allah. Son.
Какой сан?
No, you. Iyyaaka.
And we're addressing Allah, right? So when we say you, we're talking to Allah. By the way, pay attention to that. We'll really comment more when we talk about the implications and the lessons of Surah Al-Fatiha. We went from third person to second person, where we're talking about Allah and then we start talking to Him. You notice that change?
Yeah.
The first half of Al-Fatiha, we talk about Allah. And the second half, we talk to Allah. Yeah. Anyway, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Iyyaaka is you. Nasta'een. Who knows what nasta'een means?
Only from you.
Nasta'een.
Help.
Seek help.
No. We seek or we ask for help. Nasta'een, we ask for help. So, Iyyaaka na'budu wa Iyyaaka nasta'een. You we worship, and you we ask for help. You can say, actually, if you were to say, you alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. The word alone, even though you cannot find it anywhere in Arabic, it's understood from bringing the object of the verb at the starting of the sentence. Huh? That is called a hasru, exclusivity, which is what the word alone connotes. Anyway, Iyyaaka na'budu, you alone we worship, wa Iyyaaka nasta'een, and you alone we ask for help. Okay. Ihdi, guide. And it's what form of the verb? Be careful.
Yeah, but this is the balagh of the Quran, subhanallah.
يعني أي نوع من الفعل اهدي
اهدنا
يعني ماضي مضارع أو إيش؟
it's an أمر.
ليس أمر.
يجوز الأمر لله.
الأصل بلغة العربية نقول يعني الفعل بصيغة الأمر، ولكن عندما نخاطب الله سبحانه وتعالى تواضعا لله يعني لا نقول فعل الأمر بل نقول فعل الدعاء أو فعل الطلب. فعل الطلب. Yeah. So this is in Arabic language, I'm talking pure grammar, we would say this is the imperative or command form of the verb, but we don't say that when we interpret ihdi because nobody commands Allah. So we would say it's the dua form of the supplication form of the verb. Yeah.
Some of the Imams they say like that's a raja.
إيش؟
Raja, like
الرجاء؟ لا هو الطلب ليس الرجاء. الرجاء والطلب يعني أمران مختلفان. But anyway, ihdi, we're saying to Allah, guide. Na is us. Yeah. Ihdina, guide us. As-sirata, what does it mean? The path.
Yes.
The path. As-sirata is the path. And al-mustaqim is?
Independent.
What is it?
Mustaqim is just straight.
Say it in English. Straight? No, we have straighter than that.
Mustaqim.
Straight is not a good translation for mustaqim, even though it's the most popular one. So now I have to get a little technical, right? So allow me why I don't translate al-mustaqim as straight, but I translate it as upright. Because mustaqim means qama. Huh? Qama, to stand up.
Yeah.
Originally qawama. And mustaqim is mustaf'il min istaqama. Al-aslu istaqwama. Thumma mustaqwimu. Huh? And then it becomes thumma mustaqim. Mustaqim means to be upright. And why is that important in the word mustaqim? Is because it is not defining it's not a graphic description of the path. It's more teaching us the value. Mustaqim means it's a path that has values. Qiyam. It's a path of values. The path that leads to Allah, if you picture it as being straight, you're misunderstanding it. You have to picture it as being a path of values. And by the way, it's not straight. The path that returns to Allah is a path that goes through a lot of hardship, uphill and downhill. Huh? Like Allah says, فَلَقَدْ حَمَلَ عَقَبًا. Al-Aqaba, what's Al-Aqaba? The mountain highways. See that? Yeah. Because the path to Allah is a path that has a lot of obstacles and a lot of difficulties and things you have to go around and things you have to conquer and things you have to probably sidestep. So don't picture it as a straight path, picture it as a path of values and principles. So it's it's path, siratun, siratun ذا قيم. That's why Allah described it in other places in the Quran, دينا قيما. Yeah, go ahead, say what you want.
Some of the translation it refer to the Siraatal-Mustaqeem يوم القيامة. Everybody gonna pass over. Some of them.
لأننا نقول في الدنيا اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. وليس من يقول هذا مجازا، ولكن المراد الأصلي أننا نطلب من الله سبحانه وتعالى في الدنيا أن يهدينا في هذه الدنيا إلى الصراط ذات قيم حتى نرجع إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى. ثم الله سبحانه وتعالى وصف جاء ببدل أو وصف أوصاف لهذا الصراط بعد ذلك، وإنما يصف الصراط في الدنيا ليس في الآخرة. لا. من يقول هذا
Well, it depends on the understanding of the language. For somebody جاهل في اللغة, then you have to explain it to him as it is, Siraatal-Mustaqeem, just to put the idea on.
No. He mentioned that some people translate it as the straight path, as the path that you have to cross over hell. This is not speaking about that. Anyway, let's go ahead and translate it. Guide us. You gotta be careful here. So let me show you a little Arabic. When you translate Quran from Arabic to English, how sometimes it gets complicated. So here we have two objects for the verb, ihdi. In the Arabic language, we have two objects. But in English, we cannot do that because the syntax of the English language is unlike the Arabic language. So we are forced to use a preposition. And when you use a preposition, you limit the meaning. So that's why I use multiple prepositions to convey all of the meanings. So let me explain what I mean. So Allah says, guide us the upright path. That's literally what it means. But if you say guide us the upright path, in English people say, something's missing. So we say guide us, and you'll find in most translations, nearly all, to the upright path. But that's not enough. If Allah were to guide us to the upright path, that's okay, that's nice, but we want more than that. So if Allah were to say, that's the path over there. Some say, show us the upright path. That's not good enough. Because if Allah says, oh, it's over there, go. Knock yourself out, yeah? We want better than that. What do we want? We want Allah to take us along the path also. Are you following me?
Yeah, it's
We want Allah
beyond our mind, right?
We want it to be continuous, dynamic guidance. Kind of like recalculating route. Let me explain. So if you have a paper map, right? When you get lost in a paper map, what do? You have to pull over, you have to look and find back whatever the roads are blocked and then find the way to the destination. But real guidance is like GPS. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is monitoring us just like the GPS. He sees where you are on the path, and when you deviate from the upright path, he tell you come back. Recalculating route. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So now, we want Allah not only to point out the upright path, but to take us along the upright path, to give us continuous guidance. That's why you have to put an additional preposition in English. So I always translate it, guide us to and along the upright path. Because when you translate from Arabic to English, sometimes when there's an object, you need to use a preposition, and the opposite is true. Sometimes in English, we don't use the preposition, but in Arabic, you need one. That being said, we continue. Siraatal-lazeena an'amta alaihim. What does sirat mean? Path. Al-lazeena. What is the meaning of al-lazeena? Those.
The chosen.
Those. Yeah. An'amta. You have blessed or you have favored. An'amta. We're speaking to Allah. An'amta. You have favored. alaihim, an'amta alaihim, you have favored upon them. But in English, we don't need that preposition. We really don't need to translate it. So when we translate it, we would say, the path of those you have favored. And we leave the alaihim. Because in English, we don't need the preposition. Yeah. So I told you just a second ago, sometimes in Arabic, we need to put a preposition in English, and sometimes we just drop the preposition. We don't need it in English. Yeah. Anyway, Siraatal-lazeena an'amta alaihim, the path of those you have favored or blessed. So we're defining the path with additional definitions. So the first definition is an adjective in the previous ayah, the upright path, mustaqeem. So here we have sifatul istiqamah. So when we do that, we say al-mustaqeem is an adjective for the path, the upright path. It's sifa. Here we say Siraatal-lazeena an'amta alaihim. Excuse me. So now you can take as-Siraatal-Mustaqeem from the previous ayah and put it aside. And then you take Siraatal-lazeena an'amta alaihim and put it in its place. So now it becomes what we call in Arabic badal, the substitute. I'll explain that in English in a second. So the meaning you have to understand is Ihdinas-Siraatal-Mustaqeem, guide us to and along the upright path. Then we say Siraatal-lazeena an'amta alaihim. You have to understand, you take as-Siraatal-Mustaqeem and put this in the place, guide us to and along the path of those you have favored. See that? Who are the ones Allah has favored? We'll talk about that in more details. We just want to do a basic translation now. ghayril-maghdoobi alaihim. ghayril-maghdoobi alaihim is now, there's many ways to interpret this in Arabic grammar, and like I said, I don't want to get too technical, but I'll try to simplify it. Other than, and it's understood, the path of those, listen carefully, al-maghdoobi alaihim, those angered with. Anybody who translates it as those you are angry with is mistranslating the Quran. He is including what is not included. So let me say this in Arabic quickly for my brother and my sheikh. Yeah. المغضوب عليهم المفعول به ولم يذكر الفاعل. الله لم يذكر من الغاضب. يعني من الغاضب لم يذكر في الآية. So this is what we call the objective form of the noun, and who the subject is hasn't been mentioned. Who's the one that is angry? Allah didn't say. The ayah didn't say. So for a person to propose those you are angry with, he is saying that Allah is the one who's angry with him. Allah didn't say that. Now, Allah is angry. Allah is one of those who will be angry with them because the rest of the Quran explains it. But not only Allah, we will talk about that in the interpretation. Let's go back to the translation. ghayril-maghdoobi alaihim. Ghayr means other. Al-maghdoobi. And we have to include in English than, other than. Al-maghdoobi alaihim, those angered with. And what is this ayah talking about? So, let me do the translation to understand its position in the sentence. Guide us to and along the upright path, the path of those you have blessed, not the path of those angered with, who have earned anger. From whom? Allah, the angels, and all of humanity. Al-maghdoobi alayhim, those angered with, are people who knowingly reject guidance. They reject the truth. They know the truth. They know the fact that there is a creator, but they don't worship him. They know the fact that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah, but they disbelieve in him. lad-daaalleen, wala and not. Wala means and not. Ad-daaalleen means ad-daallin. What does it mean?
Stray.
Those who are astray. Those who are astray. Those who are astray are people who deviate from the upright path in ignorance. Al-Maghdubi alaihim are those who abandon the upright path with knowledge. So you have two categories of people here. So far as those who are astray. Those who are angered with and those who gone astray. Those angered with are people who know the truth, but they reject it. Ad-daaalleen are those who are lost.
Who are they?
They're ignorant. Examples of them. So not who are they, examples of them. لَيْسَ مَنْهُمْ أَيْ أَمْثَالُهُمْ. So in the tafsir, we say al-maghdubi alaihim. An example of them is the Jews, al-Yahud. And also some of the Christian scholars. Many of them knew the truth. Yeah, many of them knew the truth, but they rejected Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we'll talk about that when we interpret the verses. And ad-daaalleen, an example of them, are most of the Christians. They ignorantly go astray. Anyway, so let's go over this again briefly. Bismillah, Rahmanir-Raheem. In the name of Allah, the one who is merciful to his entire creation, the one who is especially merciful to the believers, with the name of Allah, because of the name of Allah, Ar-Rahmaanir-Raheem. Alhamdu, lillaahi, Rabbil, aalameen. All praises belong to or are for Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the one who is merciful to the entire creation, the one who is especially merciful to the believers, the owner and the master and controller of the day of judgment. We say to him, you alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Guide us to and along the upright path, the path of those you have favored, the path of those you have blessed, not the path of those who are angered with, nor the path of those who have gone astray. So that's a brief translation of Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, who would like to repeat the translation of Surah Al-Fatiha to the best of your ability? What's your name again, buddy? Imam. Come on, man. You're young. Yeah. I'm quite sure if we were listening to a song, we'd memorize it by now. How many Michael Jackson songs you've memorized? None? Well, good for you. You are missing everything. I must admit, I know a little because I hear stuff. Yeah.
They know Eminem.
You know? Oh, you know Eminem, yeah? Oh, okay, I probably should approach that from a different way. How many songs you've memorized?
Oh my God.
None?
None.
Whoa. Man. I know a lot of songs. Because I hear stuff going on. But I don't listen to music, by the way. I have no desire to listen to music. I always fight with my kids whenever they're in the car, they must listen to music. But anyway, but I know, I hear it. So I'm going to be honest. I can't lie to you guys. Try.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the especially merciful. All praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the most merciful, the especially merciful.
Owner.
The owner of the
Maaliki Yawmid-Deen.
the owner of the day of judgment.
Owner and master or controller of the day of judgment. Iyyaaka.
You alone we worship, you alone we seek help.
And. There's and. What is and?
You alone we worship, and you alone we seek help from.
Okay. Or ask for help. Yeah. Ihdinas-Siraatal-Mustaqeem. Ihdina, guide us.
Guide us to the
To and along.
Guide us to and along the upright path.
Siraatal-lazeena an'amta alaihim. The path of those
who you favored.
you favored or you have blessed.
The path of those who you favorite and you have blessed.
ghayril-maghdoobi alaihim, not
Not the past, the one.
Not the path of those who...
you,
Not
the path of those who are angered with.
not the path of those who are angered with,
Yeah.
and those who...
Nor
and those,
nor the path
nor the path of those
who have
who have gone astray.
gone astray. MashaAllah, very good. So out of 10, I'm going to give you 8.9. Very good, very good. Yeah. Who else want to try? The translation of Al-Fatiha. Now, let me tell you a story, and maybe this will benefit. Sister, are you still behind there? You can just knock on the wall if you're there hearing me. The sister who accepted Islam before Salah, are you there? Knock, because I want to share with you some very important benefit.
She's not.
Oh, great. Okay, let me share with you something. So a long time ago, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I used to have a class for Muslims. And there was a young lady who accepted Islam, and I taught her to do Salah in English. And then she learned Al-Fatiha in English. She learned to say everything, what you say in ruku, when you say, what you get up in ruku, what you say in the sajda, in the prostration, what you say between, and what you say in the tahiyyah, and all of that. So mashallah, she understands the whole Salah in English, including Al-Fatiha and a few surahs. And then I taught her to learn everything in Arabic and switch them out one by one. So start with Al-Fatiha, learn it in Arabic, and then switch it out. So then it came a point when she was one of the only persons who knew Salah in both English and Arabic. Most of the people who have been praying all their life only know it in Arabic. You ask them what it means, they don't know. But this one new Muslim girl knew what she was saying. So my advice to you, sister, is first learn to pray, learn Al-Fatiha and the rest of the Salah, the prayers, in English. And pray and put your heart into it and focus on what you're saying and the meaning of what you're saying, and especially how we're praising Allah and how we're lavish in our praises to Allah, how we humble ourselves to Allah when we bow and when we prostrate, and how we plead to Him in the dua, the various dua we make in the supplications. Learn to do that in English so you can feel Salah. But remember, so I don't want any of you to misunderstand me. I am not saying it's okay to pray in English. I'm saying it's okay for a new Muslim who now accepts Islam to pray in English. In fact, I go further. It's better for them to pray in, well, not necessarily English, whatever their language is. So if it's an Espanol, and the Espanol, Francais, you do that. Whatever it is. Pray in your language and then learn in Arabic and switch it up. Because we are obligated to pray in Arabic if we're able to. And that's our goal. But because if you follow the strategy of doing it the way I say, you will feel it, it will benefit you as a new Muslim, and then slowly you will be switching out everything one by one, or even part by part. So when the person learned the first ayah from Suratul-Fatiha, they can say that in Arabic and then say the rest in English. And when you learn 2 ayah, you say those 2. But now you know what you're saying. So that eventually you will switch out the entire thing in Arabic, and now you will know what you're saying when you're praying in Arabic. If people don't do that, if they are given, I think, a misguided verdict that you must pray in Arabic, here what happens. People struggle. They struggle to say, they don't know what they're saying, they don't feel any Salah. In fact, I know people, I'm remembering people coming to me, I'm saying it in Arabic, but I don't feel anything. Because I don't know what I'm saying. Huh? So now, I think that's harmful for the person. Hey, buddy. Allah. What's your name? Remember me. Osman, I do that. Yes. Oh. I know you're here. Help me first letter.
A.
A. Aziz. Abdul Aziz.
No.
No. Give me the second letter.
Y.
Because I want to know what it is.
A-Y.
Oh, I thought you were asking me why the second letter.
Okay, I'm gonna give. There is a two.
I was messing with you.
There is two prophets.
Ayub.
Yeah.
Do you know the meaning of Al-Fatiha?
The opening.
Yeah, the surah, the whole surah. You're supposed to learn it and come and say it to me, right? And also our very talkative friend. He's not here. Give us Salim. Was he Salim?
Yeah. Islamic and Ismail. Yeah.
Do you know it?
The meaning of the whole surah?
Yes.
No.
Okay, no problem. We just discussed it, but I'm not going to blame you for coming in late. Whoever brought you late. Maybe you were doing something
I was at
else.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Alhamdulillah. No problem. So let's come back to what we were saying. So, sister, learn to pray in English, and then aim for that in 2 months, 3 months, whatever is your timeline. Everybody learn at different paces to switch out everything one by one until you pray in Arabic. But at that point, you would know what you're saying, inshallah. Which, by the way, when we finish with Al-Fatiha, maybe we go to Salah. Because a lot of us, we pray, but we don't really know what we're saying. And there's so much meaning in everything. More than what are the implications of what we're saying. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, so this is basic translation of Surah Al-Fatiha. Should we stop here, or do you all want to go into interpreting? We stop here? We stop here, inshallah.